thank you so much for coming. And it's really amazing what we did in the last couple of months, basically putting together a conference. And just want to do a quick intro. I want to thank all of the speakers that have decided to come here, demo, and introduce. And I just want to introduce the conference a little bit. Just going to take 2-3 minutes and talk about how this conference came about. It came about in Chile, South America, at La Big Conf, where Adam Back and I sat down, and I really wanted a way for people to learn how to properly use Bitcoin. And I felt that we didn't have that in the space. So the concept of this conference is truly understanding Bitcoin, in that we want people to use it properly. We want to make sure the system stays trustless and decentralized. And a lot of people do get confused as to how to run a node, how to use Lightning, how to use the best privacy features that Bitcoin currently offers, and also talk a little bit about the future and where Bitcoin is going. And that's basically how this idea came about, on creating a conference that would help educate people as to how to properly use Bitcoin. Giacomo was also at that conference. We ran the idea by Giacomo. He got very, very interested. And here we are today. So I want to thank Adam and Giacomo for helping, for all three of us, for putting this all on. And that's my intro. We're going to kick off the event with a panel about lessons learned. Giacomo will talk a little more about the schedule. And Adam, go ahead and say a few words.
Hi. Yeah, so as Tone was saying, one of the concepts for this conference was to do something a bit different and have a more structured, organized, full coverage of the Bitcoin stack and configurations. So my feeling is that there are a lot of very cool configurations and things that even the existing Bitcoin software and hardware can do that people don't necessarily know about or know how to configure. So we wanted to bring together literally the people who implemented these things, who are the experts on them, to show you the configurations and the power user use cases. So, and as to why Malta, so Blockstream and Green Address have a pretty long connection with Malta. Personally, I've lived in Malta since 2009, and the Green Address wallet, which a number of people will know about, we recently did a big relaunch of the Green Address wallet as Blockstream Green. It's actually been running since 2013, and Green Address was incorporated in Malta as well, and Blockstream has a subsidiary in Malta, though it's a Canadian company. And Malta is a pretty good place to get to from within Europe. There's 200 direct flights, so we thought that would be a good place. The weather hasn't been as good as it would be seasonally, normally, unfortunately, but here we are. And so we're going to kick off with a panel talking about lessons learned from previous forks, basically, and what that means for full nodes and configurations, and why it's interesting for people to participate more directly in the security of the Bitcoin network by running full nodes and running wallets. And we're hopefully going to be able to do a Blockstream's Bitcoin satellite demo as the last session tomorrow as well, with a dish on the roof. So the dish is actually arriving tomorrow, though. We had a small delivery problem, but somebody's going to bring it personally from the UK. So over to you, Giacomo.
Thank you. So thank you very much, Don and Adam. I'm very happy of this conference. I think it's badly needed, and the feedback I received so far are very good. Like so far, people just had an occasion to attend very technical conferences where normal power users, interested, committed, and smart, but not technical enough, they just couldn't understand. And on the other hand, you had conferences in where that are accessible to everybody, but just full of shitcoins and scams. So this is a good alternative. Everything we said just now is false. So this conference is just an excuse to gather here to celebrate Satoshi Nakamoto's birthday, which is, as you may know by the mailing list in the Linux Foundation, was April the 5th, which is also the date of the Confiscation Act of the gold in the USA. So gold is good, but is confiscatable, while Bitcoin is unconfiscatable. So this is just an excuse to celebrate the birthday, but since we need an excuse, I'll tell you a little bit about the agenda. Mike is okay. Maybe. So, as Adam said, we will start with one of the two theoretical panels, just two theoretical panels. One today, right now, about the recent past and the lessons learned about Not2X movement, UASF, and everything which happened in the recent, let's say, 2 years and not more. And tomorrow, at the beginning, we will have a panel about the next future, the near future. So what is coming up, buzzword that maybe you are starting to hear around a little bit, like L2, Schnorr signature, must or taproot, and so on. What does it mean for Bitcoin, for its fungibility and scalability? So except for these two theoretical panels, everything else will be strictly practical. So we will have panels in which people, the actual people building these tools, will explain you why these tools are needed. Well, why do you need to run a full node? Why do you need to secure your keys? Why do you need to coin join your Bitcoins if you can? Why you may even want to mine, even if you're not a professional miner? Why you may need to overcome internet censorship with satellites and mesh networks. So this is the structure. Panel to tell you why and which are the best strategies and practices and tools. And then at that table, one of the great people building these tools will come there demonstrating the use of the tools. So the first panel, as I said, will be lesson learned in the recent past. The second one will be not your keys, not your Bitcoin. This is something that is repeated by everybody in the space since a while, but it's very important. We will talk about hardware wallets and multi-sig. And then you will see a demo of a green wallet with a 2 or 3 account with hardware wallets, and then another demo with a multi-sig system with Trezor and Electrum. Then there will be, probably there will be a little change in the schedule, meaning that we noticed that the first day is going very late, like the supposed end of the day is 8:15 p.m. So and the morning is kind of clear, and we started very soon. So the idea is that we will have before lunch instead of after lunch the panel. So the panel about not your node, not your rules will be before lunch, trying to justify what does it mean to run a full validating node, why is it important, and which are the best practices to do that. And just after lunch, we will have demonstration of the full node installation and setup with three different options. One will be core from scratch on a Linux system. The second will be AB core on Android, and the third will be the Cypher node stack by Francis. Then we will have a break, and then we will gather together again in order to start the Lightning Network session. How to integrate the Lightning Network, how to set it up. We will see Nodl and Spark and Change, Tor and NixOS, and C Lightning, of course, on Linux. I will talk about tomorrow, but basically the other sessions of tomorrow will be about mining, not let's say not for-profit mining, if it makes sense, what can be done about that. Privacy and fungibility, so basically mixing and other things, and then getting around ISP censorship. So let's start. The idea is to have another day that is a Sunday, in order to make all the if you want to ask a question and we have time, maybe a couple we can. But mostly, all the practical questions will be held on Sunday, when people will gather in another room, which is just downstairs, and they will try to put in practice what we learned during the demos, and people will help you to do that. So let's start with the first panel. All
right, now I got it. I'll do it from here. I'll moderate the first panel. Hey guys, so let's have the first panelists come up. John, Francis, James, coming up. Marek.